Hi, I'm Ryan, and I created Nyched. Currently, online, we don't have much control over what we get to see or when we get to see it. We don't really have a say in what we get to interact with. We get to choose what we click on, but we don't get to choose what's in the list of things to click on. We don't get to say, here's what we would like to see, and this is more pertinent to me, and it's more important to me, so put a preference on that. And there are things in the way of us having a truly enjoyable online experience. Some of those things include algorithms and gatekeepers. And things need to change. We should have control. We should get to have a say. The reason it is this way is because the people who created these platforms have people that they're accountable to that are not us, they're users. So they've turned us into a product to be used and be put in front of their true customer, which is their stakeholders and shareholders, and also their advertisers. Digital autonomy is extremely important moving forward into the future of technology and online interactions. Currently, the only way we have choice is the choice of which platforms we use and we don't use. You know, do you use Reddit? Do you use Facebook? Are you on TikTok or YouTube? Are you a Twitter user? Are you mad at Elon for taking over and now it's something you'll never use again? Are you into Mastodon or whatever you might be into? So being able to choose a platform is definitely the macro level of autonomy. But it pales in comparison to the type of autonomy we have in the real world. We have an extreme amount of control in the real world, and this would be on the micro level. What do I eat for breakfast? Do I put salt in my eggs or don't I? Those types of things. So I am advocating for micro control in the digital realm, which currently we do not have. What we do have is a limited ability to personalize our experience. We get to choose our profile picture. We get to choose what we post and what we don't post, but we don't have control over what we see and what we get to interact with. So we get what the algorithm thinks our preference is, but we don't get to tell the algorithm if it's wrong. There's no feedback loop. There's no way to say, hey, that's not right. I don't quite want to look at tires for the next 6 months. I just needed a new tire on my car today. Where control would be creating filters and customizations so that you get to turn the dial up on your cat videos, or you get to turn the dial down on seeing your friends' posts about their children and their family, or political posts if that's not what you're into. Or maybe you just only want to see when your uncle posts about his trips to Europe or something along those lines. That would be control. That's what Nyched aims to do. Algorithms are programs that essentially decide what information to show us. They take what we've done in the past and they make their best guess on what we want to see in the future. And sometimes they work, but a lot of times they get it wrong. Many of us can think of situations where we were doing research on something or looking into a product for a limited amount of time, and then we made a decision or we were done researching that thing, and we still get fed information from those types of topics. This gets in the way of us being able to have control over our online experience. It gets in the way of us being able to see the things that are most important to us. It stifles creativity as well because we're always trying to chase what the algorithm's going to like. And the algorithm tends to like things that are divisive and that make us angry and that have intense emotional connections to us, rather than things that are sometimes not as emotional but still entertaining and things that we would like to see and like to interact with. The other side of this too is with an algorithm, it leaves room for people to turn dials up and down on how the algorithm preferences certain type of information. So users can be manipulated through that process. And I don't think any of that is ethical. I think having an algorithm in between us and the information we most want to interact with is not an ethical way to create technology. Now, algorithms do have benefits in situations where it isn't impacting our day-to-day life, but I don't believe algorithms have a place in social interactions. Gatekeepers include moderators and admins, and the biggest gatekeeper of them all is algorithms. Now, these get in the way of us having access to our interests and our preferences and what we want to see, because they're just guessing, or they're imposing a set of rules that they created. There could also potentially be actors at these platform companies that get to turn the dial up or turn the dial down, or choose specifically what we get to see. And that all gets in the way of having a free flow of conversation and ideas. There's been situations where I've been in Facebook groups before and I either got kicked out or my post got removed because of asking even nuanced questions about a topic, because I was rubbing against the norm and asking things about maybe new technologies or new ways to think about the interests that I was trying to interact with. And you may be thinking, well, maybe it was ideological or maybe it was political, but I've been in situations where if you just go against the admins, they decide whether they allow you to interact with the content in their group or not. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's right. I think we should be able to have free conversations, and we're not stupid people. We're actually pretty smart. We know when someone's BSing us, and we know when someone is not on the right track. And we also know when someone's being authentic and genuine. And I think it's disingenuous to just shut the flow of information off and for individuals to have that power in their hands. Part of the ideology of Nyched is believing that you have the right to choose and that you're smart enough to know what you want and to sift through information better than any computer program can. I'm not so sure that in the near future that computer programs could replace the amount of information we can consume and process as efficiently as we can as human beings. And I believe in an environment where you get control over your feed. Maybe you can have multiple different feeds so that you can fill them with exactly what you want to see. I know for me, I have seasonal passions, things that I want to interact with during different types of the year, and I'm not as excited about them, when it's cold outside, if it's a summer activity that I like to do. So having that type of control would be revolutionary for individuals to be able to say what they want to see and be able to interact with it. And one of my main goals is ultimately to give you that power so that instead of trying to consume and consume and consume until you're satisfied with the level that you got to of information, you get directed information on the topics that you most want to see, the things that are most important to you, so you can get out in the world and actually do those things. Ultimately, this would give us more agency. It would give us more of a say. It would give us the ability to do what we do in the real world, to make decisions for ourselves, instead of being fed a limited amount of options and choosing from the things that an algorithm or gatekeeper thinks are the best pieces of information to pass on to us. This video, as always, is sponsored by Nyched. Nyched is the only platform and the only place online that set out to focus on the user first before the platform was ever created. There was a goal of having a great user experience and a customizable service that is available to the users so that you would not be the product, but in turn you would be the customer. So that you would have full control online, to have an environment that you would actually want to interact in, and ultimately to get you consuming what you want more quickly so you can get out in the world and do what you're passionate about more often. To learn more and to support the project, go to resistthealgorithm.com. It's the best way to learn more about what we're doing. And there you could join the beta if you wanted to. But if you can't do that at this moment, I totally understand, and I wouldn't ask you to. But the best way to support us, apart from doing that, is to continue doing what you're doing. Follow us on social media. Like our videos. Comment on our videos so we can start a conversation. You're a part of the Nyched community already, and I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much. It means so much to me, and I look forward to seeing you more soon. When we are empowered to choose, there's a psychological impact. There's a benefit to us having control. When we get to decide what our environment looks like, we get to be placed in the best situation for ourselves. This can reduce anxiety that comes from social media usage. We've started to see in the past number of years some studies on how hyper use of social media can create anxiety and depression and those types of things, especially in young teens. And that's a real conversation we have to have. We have to decide as a society what we want to do with that. Obviously, if you're reducing anxiety, you're increasing your satisfaction. What if you had an environment where you can get online, get the information that you're most interested in, and then get out doing that information instead of consuming it all the time? If you love to cook, you shouldn't be satisfied with just watching cooking videos or reading recipes all day long. We want to get into the kitchen and actually do some of these things. We want to get to the grocery store to buy that new ingredient we're excited about utilizing in the next thing we want to cook. This all gets tied together with the promotion of mental health. You know, we live in a society where we've seen a increase in mental health issues and people dealing with things that are going on in their head. I think a lot of that has to do with social fabric being torn down over the past number of decades, but that seems to coincide with the rise of technology and the rise of being online 24/7. So Nyched's goal is to give you back control so that you don't have to worry about where things are coming from, or you don't have to worry about doom scrolling for hours to get the information that you're really looking for to, you know, bring a little levity to your day or to bring a little bit of joy to your day. One of the secondary benefits that I believe that can come out of having full control over your online experience is, since we have the ability now to interact with our interests and our passions more directly, and we have a say over when we get to see those things, it's going to create an environment where a platform like Nyched could be a tool for personal growth, because we get to come on and we get to interact with the things that we're trying to learn about and the things that we want to be encouraged in, and then we can take a time out from that and go and do those things and try it, and then come back again and see what is new there. This would provide a unique environment where the platform, instead of being a barrier and a way to escape things, is a tool in setting and achieving goals and skill development. How amazing would it be if we got directly connected with exactly what we were looking for the moment we hopped onto a platform, instead of sitting there for hours scrolling away until we get that dopamine tank filled up to the point where we're either exhausted and want to go to bed, or we're exhausted and we don't have the energy to go and actually do the things we're passionate about. I believe user-centered platforms are the future of online interactions and technology in the platform and social type of sphere. I think we need more platforms and websites that push us to interact offline more than we interact online. And I think that Nyched is really the only one doing this right now. It's the only thing I've really found where it eliminated the things that are getting in the way of us doing the things that we love to do. You know, if we all had environments where we were able to connect with the things we loved and, you know, connected with positive people online in the spheres that we want to operate in, with the interests that we have common to us, I think we would see a huge benefit, especially in the mental health area and in the, you know, discourse type of area, the conversations we have with one another. When we can find commonalities, that creates a social fabric and a social thread that is very much needed in this time, in this generation. And my hope is that Nyched helps to facilitate those types of things. I also hope that more types of platforms and sites and online technologies come along that help to foster these types of things. It's something that I believe that as a society we are craving and we desire. We are not dummies. We're not stupid. We are smart enough to be able to make decisions about our own lives and our interests and our preference and the things we want to interact with. And I think that control is a big part of that online. We have it out here in the real world. We don't have it so much online. Nyched is a great solution, but Nyched is in its infancy, so we need your help to continue to grow the community. But I will say, I'm in this for the long haul. I'm not going anywhere. Nyched will be a community in the future where you will be able to have control over your online experience. I intend for us to be here for a very long time, because I believe that the world needs something like this, where we get full control over our online experience. Nyched is the world's first human interaction platform, and it's totally within your control. To learn more, go to resistthealgorithm.com. If you like this video, give it a like. If you have something to say about this topic, you agree with me, you disagree, you want more information, leave a comment below. That's one of my favorite parts, to talk with you guys and continue to grow the community of Nyched. And if you liked what you saw and you want to see more, stay tuned, because the next video is coming up right now.